Hello, this is Christy Falk with CreateWithChristy.com. A lot of you know I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and have been for over 15 years. And today I'm here to show you another project for my 12 weeks of fall and Halloween. This is week number 5. As you can see, it's a project that fits a Reese snack size cup in perfectly, and any other size candy that's about the same size. You can tell it just fits in like a glove. And I'm using the Cauldron bubble stamp set and the Cauldron Framelits, and they can be bundled together, and you'll save 10% if you buy it as a bundle. And here, it looks like, boy, you must have colored that really well. But what it is the Toil and Trouble Designer Series paper that coordinates with this bundle. And the Framelits will cut out some of the images in the paper. So this was a quick way to do this. I decided to cut them out instead of stamping them and coloring them. Of course, if there aren't enough, if you're making a lot of these, you can still use the stamp set. As I'm talking about the stamp set, I'll even show that to you. It's a Cauldron Bubble. It's really a cute stamp set. It's got some good greetings for it. The stamp I will be using is the Bubble Bubble Toil and Trouble. I thought that was perfect for what I was making. As you can see, there's the witch. Looks a lot like the one that I die cut right here. And that would be the cauldron that you could have colored, that you can color in if you decide to stamp them. And here is the die set that goes with it. It's Cauldron Framelits. You can buy the stamp set and the framelits separately, but if you bundle them together, you'll save 10%, so it's a really good deal. I'll be using the witch die and the cauldron die. Those will be the ones I use. Okay, first off, you want to start off with a 5" by 8.5" piece of Mango Melody cardstock. And I put it on my Simply Scored scoring tool, so the 5" side is along the top. Take my scoring tool. I'm going to score the piece at 1/2 inch. Oops. Moved on me. There we go. Sometimes it's a little hard when you have to do it the long way. There we go. 1/2 inch, 1 1/4 inch. And I am using the thinner, the narrower end since I'm using cardstock. This is 3 3/4 and 4 1/2. So once again, it's 1/2 inch, 1 1/4, 3 3/4, and 4 1/2, all the way to the bottom. I'm going to rotate it so the 8.5 inch side's along the top. And as you can tell with the measurements, you can get 2 of these out of a piece of cardstock. I want to let you know that real quick. You want to score now at 2 1/2 and 3 1/4. I didn't mark them because I was afraid that was going to confuse you, but these are just 2 1/2 and 3/4. Okay, that's all the scoring we're going to do. Put that to the side. I'm going to take my paper snips, and right here are some tabs I want to keep. So I'm going to cut up to the second horizontal score line. And then this little rectangle right here, I'm going to clip that off because we don't need that right now. I'm going to do the same with the other side. Hurry up and cut up to the second score line like we did before, and clip off a little rectangle at the bottom. Okay. Now, like I've done with all my boxes, if you've seen any of my videos, you know I do this. I'm going to make this little tab narrower. So I'm going to go in maybe about 1/4 inch and angle it up to the corner of the tab. I'm going to do the same on this side. Quickly turn it around and do this side. And this side. Okay, those tabs are ready. Now, I do not need these 2 long sections here and the 2 long sections up here. I will need them down here, but I don't need them up here on the top on the biggest section. So I'm going to bring my Stampin' Trimmer out. This is actually 1 1/4 inches all the way, so you can line it up with 1 1/4 or just line the score line up with the groove in the cutting pad. Once you've got that ready, you just cut and you stop at the tab, and you can actually feel it come off since we've got that little niche in there already. So that's why I did these tabs first. That way I could feel it. Turn it over. I'm going to do the other side. Line up those score lines again. Go down until I feel it slip off the paper, or the arrow is lined up with the score line. Oh, there we go. Sometimes it doesn't go down all the way when you stop, but there we go. Oh, it did. Okay, there we go. So this is what you're going to have when you're done. Get this out of the way. Now we're going to turn this over. because the outside are where the score lines look like valleys. So that's the top. I'm going to take some of the Toil and Trouble designer paper. This piece is 2 1/4 by 5. So square is 2 1/4 by 2 1/4. Oop, don't need that. And these are the 1/2 inch by 2 1/4. So what I'm going to do is take my snail. And first I'm going to put the little square on. And it's going to go in this little square section here. Get that centered. And then with this, I'm just going to take a strip and go all the way down the middle of it. And that is going to go on this one right here. The middle one. You don't want the end one to have any designer paper on it. And put this one over here. Now this one we're not going to attach just yet, so I'm going to move that over here. Now we're going to turn this upside down. Actually first, let's go ahead and burnish this. It's probably make it easier. And as I said, whenever you make boxes, you want to burnish them. And burnishing them is when you fold on the score line and take your bone folder and crease it a little tighter. So I'm going to do that on all of the score lines. This makes it so much easier when you go to put the box together. Get the tabs done. And then get all these. Okay. Turn it over. And I don't think I did this one. Oh yeah, I did. Okay, so now they're all done. Go ahead and open it up again. I'm going to turn it back over. And I'm going to go ahead and put tear and tape adhesive on here to show you where it goes. I'm going to be putting a little one on this tab here, just in the middle. Another one over here. So you want it on both tabs. And then these long tabs here, and I just put it down the whole length of the center of these. Doesn't have to be in the exact center, just close to the center. There we go. Okay, now when you go to put this together, this is actually going to be the top. Okay, now having this upside down now, what I'm going to do is die cut a witch. What I've done, when you get the paper, it's got all these witches on it. Well, I didn't want to cut through any of these, so I just kind of loosely cut around a witch that I was going to use. And this is the one that fits perfectly in the die. And I'll show you how that works. Same with the cauldron. I had this little 6x6 piece, so I was die cutting them out of here. So what I'm going to do, let me get this out of the way. You take your magnetic platform and a cutting pad, standard cutting pad. Put your paper on there. Grab the die, and the green one was what I used. Get it right where it goes. See how it fits perfectly. Put the standard cutting pad on and run it through the Big Shot. And just to show you the witch and see how she lines up. This is, you see how I just loosely cut around it and then put her through the Big Shot like this. See, it fits perfectly. Okay, so I've already die cut some out, so you don't have to wait for me to do that. I just want to show you how it worked. So I'll bring this back in. And what I'm going to do, I'm only going to put some stuff right here because this end is going to hang over the edge of the box. So just put it along the center of her dress here. Make sure I'm in the screen. A little bit on her back where her head is. Nothing on the hat because that's going to be sticking up too. Make sure that her feet are lined up with this score line here. That way it'll stand up flat. There she's on. And then I'm using Stampin Dimensionals for this. As you can see, I used my scraps. I already cut some of these little half ones off. And I'm going to put 4 on each one. Oops, that was stuck to me. There we go. And kind of bring them in a little bit because part of this is going to be hanging off the side too. And since I forgot to check which side it was, yep, it's this side. So I did the right thing. I'm going to bring that in a little bit. Take the paper backing off. Okay, now the paper backing is off. I'm going to put it right here. Make sure the bottom of this is lined up with that score line again. Have the cauldron hanging off past the score line just a little bit. And there we go. So now the main of it is decorated. Now we're not going to put this on yet. You'll understand why in just a second. Get these out of the way. Now we're going to turn this back around. Turn it over. I'm going to fold this tab in and take the paper backing off. And then I'm going to bring this up and line it up. You want the edge of this to line up with the score line and the tab. And as soon as you've got that lined up, it's a little hard. I'm at a weird angle. There we go. And put that together. Do the same thing over here. Take the paper backing off. Line up the side with the score line. And as long as you get that score line lined up right, it lies flat with no problem. Okay, now these need to be folded down, and this is all going to come together like this. Now you see these are going to be covered up by the designer paper. That's why I didn't want to put that on yet. So take the paper backing off of here. And once again, you're going to line the edge of this with the score line. And just loosely do it first. Then put your finger in there and push it down. Now do the same thing here. Take the paper backing off again. Line up those score lines. And there we go. There the box is done. So to cover up these little hinges right here, I guess you could call them, I'm going to take my 2 1/4 by 5 inch piece of paper. I went back and forth. I almost did the pumpkin side, but I thought the brooms looked a little better with the witch. Just going to slide that down. What you're going to do, keep it lifted up so it's not up at the top of the box here. That way you can line up, center the top and the side with the ends of the cardstock. That way you know this is centered, and then you can just put your finger in here and get it like that. Now I'm going to take my 1 3/8 scallop punch, and what you do, you're going to center it left and right, so you want to have the same amount of cardstock showing on each side, and then the top of this, you want it to line up with the top of the box, and that gets you in the perfect spot. Get this angled so you can see it better. And punch. And there you go. So it makes it a lot easier. You don't have to worry about getting it to look right, being able to center it that way. Okay, now I'm going to use this little piece. Now I can go ahead and take this off if I wanted to. I end up not doing it on this one, but if it comes off easily, then you just take it off, and this one is, because there's just a little bit of adhesive there, so we can put that on for something else. Now I'm going to take my Bubble Toil and Trouble and my Tuxedo Black Memento pad, stamp that, get him centered right there in the circle. I may not have gotten it centered. Oh, pretty good. One thing when you do videos, you can't get your head in the way. It's a little hard to see exactly where you're stamping. Okay, now I'm going to take another one of my scraps of my Dimensionals, just put one here in the center. Take the paper backing off and pop that guy right there. I wanted him kind of at an angle because I thought that looked a little better. Now I'm going to take a 6-inch piece of this 3/8, it's black 3/8 inch glittered Organdy, there we go, ribbon. I just love this ribbon. Isn't that gorgeous? I love the glitter in that. I don't know if you can see the glitter. Oh, there, I think I got the glitter going. I'm just going to put this on here, and I'm just going to tie a single knot. You could tie a double knot if you like, but I was able to get this ribbon is kind of stiff, so it kind of holds in place with no problem, and just kind of keep yanking on it until it looks the way I want it. Then take your scissors and cut the ends at an angle, and you're done. Isn't that cool? I love that. That's it. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed week number 5 of my 12 weeks of fall and Halloween. I'll be back next week with the fall project. I'm hoping to do more than just my weekly 12 weeks of fall and Halloween videos very soon, so make sure to subscribe to my Create with Christy YouTube channel to be notified whenever I post a video. If you don't shop with another Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I'd love for you to pick me to shop with. I'm here to help and inspire your creativity in stamping too. You can order online by going to my blog at www.createwithchristy.com and clicking Shop Now, or by emailing me at christyfalk@createwithchristy.com. You can follow me on my blog, my Create with Christy Facebook page, and my Create with Christy Pinterest page. I've included all the links in the video description below and in the credits of this video. Well, it's time for me to go. See you soon.